Hey everybody, probably the most requested video I get these days is something related to grooming. And I get it. If you have a dog, it needs to be clean, and if you have a niece especially, it needs a whole lot of other things because of that long, beautiful coat that they have. So, our groomer, Jess, actually agreed to do a collaboration with us to show you what it looks like when you bring your dog to a groomer. As most of you know, we bring Pistachio to a groomer. I don't do all of that myself. And we've worked with Jess now for over 2 years. She has been a dream come true. Pistachio is not always the most chill about being touched in ways that she doesn't like. So finding the right groomer was really important to me, and Jess has totally been that groomer. She has developed such wonderful trust with Pistachio, and I never have to worry about if Pistachio is going to be in good hands or not. I also interviewed Jess and just asked her some questions that I know I had before bringing my dog into a groom, and I'll sprinkle her answers throughout this video. I just want to be clear before we get into this video, this is to show you what to expect if you want to drop your dog off at a groomer. I know this is sort of a scary step for some people because you can't be a fly on the wall and monitor the whole thing, and it's your baby you're dropping off. I had the same exact fears. So my hope is this video shows you what the steps are that happen when you drop your dog off at a groom, what the groomer will do to keep your dog comfortable and safe, give you some realistic ideas of how your dog might react to some of these steps, and to give you some insight on how you can prepare your dog for the groomer and how to find the right groomer for your dog. So let's get right into it. You'll see during drop-off here that Pistachio is a little frantic. She does not like being left behind. And this is a little hard to watch. Trust me, it's always hard for me to watch too when I drop her off. But I think the really important thing to note is that as soon as I leave, she's very chill. I think there's some anxiety that builds up when I'm still visible and she knows that I'm about to walk away. And I'm not going to lie to you all and say that she's thrilled that I'm gone and thrilled that she's about to be groomed. But this is still a process that has to be done to keep her healthy and to improve our quality of life together. But I love the trust that she has in Jess at this point, because once I leave, she spins around and she is ready to roll. She knows the drill. She automatically looks to Jess for guidance once I leave, so it's sort of an important part to have me leave so that she switches gears and knows that they're going to begin this familiar routine together. So the first thing that Jess does is make sure that the water temperature is good, not too hot, not too cold, before beginning to bathe Pistachio. And Jess uses a product that is both a shampoo and a conditioner so that she doesn't have to put the dog in the bath any longer than needed. She gets the body wet and lathered first, and then does the head after that. That way they don't have to sit in the bath with a wet head for longer than needed. And she'll put the nozzle at the top of the head so that the water trickles down and doesn't go directly into Pistachio's eyes as much as possible. Jess pointed out that the neck, ears, and muzzle area naturally tend to get the stinkiest in between grooms. So here Jess is being very thorough to get Pistachio's face clean, which includes wiping away those brown tear stains that Havanese tend to get. She's being careful not to get soap in Pistachio's eyes, which is working out well because you can see that Pistachio is not blinking excessively here. So now Jess will rinse Pistachio's body, and she rinses Pistachio's face. She is encouraging Pistachio to sort of close her eyes by wiping towards them with her thumb, which will just help avoid getting water in the eyes. She's also careful to keep water from getting inside her ears or up her nose.
She is actually a client that every groomer loves because she's well maintained between grooms. You have her on a pretty good schedule. It's not like I only see her every once in a while or random amounts of time. So I'm typically doing the same groom and cutting off the same amount of hair every time. She's not excessively dirty. She doesn't have excessive mats on her when she comes in. So those are all things that for a groomer is like a dream. Sometimes she can be a little bit testy about certain things, but that is also something that we're very used to handling, so that is totally fine.
Jess told me that sometimes Pistachio doesn't like getting her butt dried. So these are things that Jess knows about her clients after she's worked with them for a while and can kind of proactively try to avoid any discomfort for the dog or for the groomer. So here Jess is covering most of Pistachio with a towel, which sort of calms her down during the butt drying process. We didn't get this on camera, but Jess also typically will wipe the dog's ears after the bath to keep those clean as well. All right, now it's on to the drying portion. So this is a stabilizing harness, and it just keeps Pistachio from moving around too much during the groom. It's got this little foam cushion on it, so it's very comfortable for her, and Jess intentionally keeps it tall so that Pistachio keeps her head up during the groom, but still low enough that Pistachio can sit comfortably if she wants. There are other types of harnesses that can be used if a dog is sitting down too much during a groom and it's interfering with the trim, but for Pistachio, this harness is enough. For dogs that are being groomed for the first time or are unsure about the blow dryer, Jess will start the dryer on the lowest setting and then work her way up. Jess turns the dryer to a lower setting once she gets to the face, just so that it's not so loud in the dog's ears. And she'll also cover the dog's ear holes when drying the ears so that the warm air doesn't go directly into the ear canal. Okay, so now Jess is going to move into brushing Pistachio. So Jess will start this process with a slicker brush, which is just that classic sort of dog brush that has the needle bristles. This is a really good brush for separating the top coat and getting the dog fluffy. That way, when she starts trimming, all the hairs will be cut equally.
So typically for groomers, it is really nice when you can brush your dog in between. If you're not gonna come every 3 to 4 weeks, you should be doing a lot of brushing in between. Really, especially if you have a dog with hair or a long fur in general, undercoats, you should be brushing those out. If they only get brushed when they're at the groomer every 6 to 8 to 10 weeks, it's just a lot more for both us and the dog. So brushing is important, and then just touching of sensitive areas, if you can touch their ears and make sure you can do that type of stuff with them, around their face, their paws, making sure you can at least touch those things and kind of manipulate them, that helps a lot too.
Jess did note that some of the bigger grooming salons will have the bathing, brushing, drying, nail cutting. All of those things will be done by a bather, who is someone who does the prep work to get the dog ready for the groomer to cut their hair. So that's not unusual if you see that. So here Jess did note that Pistachio has more tangles than usual in her ears. This one's on me. Whoops. Sorry, Jess. Sorry, Pistachio. So this process is a little uncomfortable for Pistachio, but Jess was able to note the signs that could lead to a snapping incident or something that could be a little bit worse, just because she knows dog behavior really well. So she could just see there was some stress yawns happening, nothing really more major than that. But because of that, she was just monitoring it, making sure Pistachio wasn't too uncomfortable. And if Pistachio had gotten too uncomfortable, she would have paused this process and come back to it later. Keep in mind, any mats are basically dead hair, so Jess is just using a comb to sort of brush those out. She's also holding above the brushing point to alleviate some of the pulling on Pistachio's skin, just trying to keep it as comfortable as possible for her. Jess told me that the long points of hair on a dog, especially these long-haired dogs like a Havanese, are the ones that you want to be making sure you are brushing the most at home, because these will help avoid so much discomfort during a groom. So these are things on a Havanese like their ears and that long, beautiful fountain tail. Those are some things that can get tangled really easily, especially if your dog likes water like mine. So just make sure that you are brushing these regularly before you get to the groomer. After getting out the tangles, she's using a metal comb that goes all the way to the bottom layer of hair, which just helps make sure that she got all the tangles out. She's also feeling with her hands just to make sure everything is out. Look at that sweet baby. All right, now on to the trimming process. So for Pistachio, Jess will usually use a 4 or a 5 blade. For colder months, she'll do a 4-blade so that the hair is a little bit longer, and then in the hotter months, a 5-blade. She's starting with the body, and then she'll get to the legs, and she'll always shave with the grain of the hair. She keeps the blade flat against the body so that she gets an even cut, and she makes sure to hold Pistachio's limbs in the right places so that they don't bend in any unnatural way for the dog. I want to note here, Pistachio is not this patient with me when it comes to grooming at home. I can tell Jess has built some insane trust with this dog because when I try to groom some of these areas, Pistachio does not sit nearly as still and will be thrashing her head a whole lot more. So it's actually pretty cool to see how much Pistachio respects Jess, and I think I'm going to have to take a few notes from Jess on how to build this type of patience in Pistachio when I'm doing her hair brushing at home. So Jess is also aware that the friction of running the razor over her body can make it start to get warm, so she's repeatedly checking that the blade isn't getting too hot on Pistachio's skin. But if the blade does start to get warm, she'll use this cooling spray, which cools it down immediately.
So right now, everyone has some type of social media or a website or something like that. So going on there and looking at that type of stuff can be helpful. You can at least maybe see before and afters, see if you like the way that they groom. You can typically see what their facility looks like on there. Also, if they have any type of videos recording their grooms or anything like that, that would obviously give you a huge advantage there. But otherwise, if they don't have a ton of that, or you live in an area where that's not a big thing right now, you can ask to see work from them. You can ask to talk to other clients. You can ask to come in and at least see the facility. I don't think it's a huge problem if the groomer doesn't want you to be there while they're grooming, because a lot of times that can set the dogs off. So don't think that that's a big red flag if a groomer doesn't allow you to stay and watch your dog be groomed or watch other dogs be groomed, because that can just make it a lot more stressful for the dogs. And so a lot of groomers will say no to that type of thing. So I wouldn't worry so much about that, but they should at least let you come in and see the facility and see where the dog's gonna be and where they're gonna be housed in between and stuff like that.
Jess uses scissors on the face, not the razor. She uses 2 types of scissors. There's a curved blade scissor and blending shears that have those teeth. She cuts the ears with the curved blade and then blends them with the blending shears so that it looks more natural. Jess is paying close attention to how much she takes off of the first ear so that she can match the other ear as perfectly as possible. Jess told me that there's a lot of blending that happens at this point to just help make their hair look like it magically grows this cute. That's the magic of blending everything. It just doesn't look choppy, it looks super smooth and natural.
Biggest red flag would be if they don't let you come in and see where the dog's gonna be groomed at all. If they do let you come in there and you're looking around, the biggest thing I would say is if it's really dirty, if it's really stinky, those type of things would be red flags to me. If there's a lot of dogs in there all at once and it seems chaotic, or there's dogs like lined up in cages or something, for me that would be a little bit more of a red flag. It's not the end of the world if they have dogs lined up, if it's a bigger grooming facility or something and they have a lot of groomers in doing things at the same time. But I would just go in and see the overall feel. If the dogs all seem extremely stressed or something like that. But otherwise, I would say as long as the facility seems clean and tidy, that would be the biggest thing for me.
Now when Jess gets to the paws, Jess will shape them and trim around the pads. and then she'll do some nail trimming. Now, this is where my battery died, unfortunately, but sort of the last finishing step you didn't get to see is just putting this adorable little bow in Pistachio's hair, which is one of my favorite touches that Jess does. And look how cute she looks after this groom. I can't stand it. This is when I came back, and you could tell Pistachio was very happy to see me, and yet still able to get distracted by some leaf or rock that smelled more interesting than Mom. So she was thrilled to see me, but not traumatized, and looking her best, feeling her best, and she's just going to be so much more comfortable in this short coat. I've seen it every time.
So at Mother of Dog, we offer training, grooming, pet photography, and we also do custom pet artwork, paintings and such. We have just started doing paint parties as well. So if you really love your pets and you want to get a bunch of your friends together, we can do private parties. We can come right to your house. We do custom outlines of your pets, and we do watercolor paintings of them, so that's super fun. If you want to check out all the things that Mother of Dog LLC offers, you can go to our website, motherofdogllc.com. You can also check us out on all social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mother of Dog LLC. And we also have my phone number. You can call or text 315-207-1767.
If any of you want to work with Jess using any of her services, make sure you check out her website or any of the other information she provided to connect with her business. But I cannot hype her up enough. She has been such a blessing to our puppy parenthood experience. So that's all. In the future, I'm hoping to maybe put together a video of how to do a grooming at home with the help of a family member who also has Havanese. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I hope this video builds your confidence in dropping your dog off at the groomer and determining if that's the right choice for your family. Thanks for watching.